This here? That's frightening. Okay, 4:34. And welcome everyone to season 4 of this committee. I think it is, right? It's our fourth year. We're missing only one member, but we do have 4. Today, we're not going to do our election of chair and vice chair, which, by the way, I'm sorry, was not on the agenda, but we will do that next time. So I guess the first thing, so I'm still chair. So I guess the first thing is the approval of minutes. So I would ask for a motion. I'll just go ahead and make a motion that we approve those minutes from December. Karen will second it. All in favor? Aye. Okay. And so those minutes are approved. And now we're excited to have our CFP folks with us, Joe and Jennifer.
Good afternoon, everyone. David Gomez, Director of CIP. Ariel Gitian is my Division Director and the Senior Project Manager for the West Avenue Project. Happy to come in anytime you wish us to be here on any project. I understand that you have questions regarding West Avenue. We're happy to address those. Really quick update, and it may answer some of the questions. As you're aware, the contractor is working on the pump station site and the installation of the outfall. You may have seen that recently we closed the sidewalk on West Avenue. That was done out of safety concerns. We're installing very large pipe, very close to the sidewalk. It was just too close for pedestrians and cyclists. Yeah. They should be reopening that sidewalk the next couple of weeks. Let's call it mid-February. And then somewhere February, March timeframe, they should be at a point where they begin to open up the road again to traffic intermittently and partially. It won't be full because there's still a lot of work to be done while they proceed with not only the underground pipe heading south towards Lincoln, but also in front of the pump station. So there's a lot of work ahead of us, and they're working on pushing that as fast as they can. We are looking at issuing notice to proceed with segment 2. Segment 2 is the portion of Lincoln Road west of Alton to the bay, and then the 2 side streets on the north end of it. Once they begin there, then you'll see additional road closures and changes in the MOT so that they can do that work. Duration for that segment is about 6 months, approximately, give or take. They do have all of the harmonization agreements in place for segment 2, so they're ready to proceed with segment 2. And following segment 2, they will go into segment 3, which is Bay Road. It's a small section of Bay Road, and then the street there. Lincoln Terrace. So that's the next segment in line after segment 2, and that's what we're having a little bit of issue with harmonization.
That's where the harmonization issues are.
And I hope that it is in part a misunderstanding from some of the residents, some of the property owners. We do have some signed and in place already. Others are hesitant to sign. Some of it had to do with concerns over flood insurance. They were concerned that if we do this project, it would negate their flood insurance. That's not the case. There is some concern over the actual harmonization work. And really it's a very tight right of way. So if we cannot show them the benefits of the harmonization, which essentially is provide any ramps, steps, plants, whatever they like to improve the connection to the street and make it usable for them, then our choice is to put a retaining wall at the property line, which
it's not the best.
It's not the best, and in this particular street, it's not going to work. It eliminates parking.
Bless you.
So we're very hopeful that we can get the message across and come to the table with some of the property owners that have concerns, so that we can express to them the benefits of the harmonization.
Thank you. Would you say that in this case, those difficulties are more than what you've experienced before? Or about
No.
the same?
No, it's about the same. It's different issues. In some cases, we had resistance because the property owners had landscaping that they didn't want to be affected. In other cases, property owners had either fences or structures in the right of way that were encroaching in the right of way that they didn't want to have removed. So we've been able to work through those obstacles. This is different location, similar issues. So I'm seeing it more or less the same as previous conditions. We just need to go through that process of sitting at the table and hopefully convincing them of the benefits.
Well, it sounds like you're being very reasonable with the residents.
We're trying.
It just sounds like they're kind of giving you a hard time.
Yeah.
If they're complaining about, the fences on, public land.
And we were able to resolve that, and the commission did come to a resolution where the project absorbed a lot of the cost of relocating things like fences and gates and other things. This particular street doesn't really have encroachments in the right of way. Let me see if I can give you a high level description of what's happening. When these two streets were developed, they went through a process through the planning department to design the street with a paver street and landscaping. And as part of that, the edge of pavement is on private property. So now reconciling that with what we're doing in the right of way and harmonization, it impacts those areas. So we're trying to put everything back the way it is, the way it exists today, at least looking the way it does today, with the caveat that we'll have a higher road and we'll harmonize into the private property. But a lot of people are having a hard time visualizing that. So we're hoping that we can meet with them and show them really what's gonna happen.
And are you able to use, I mean, I know Stefan's been involved, by the company, it's probably business. Are you finding that residents or can help with this, other community members? I mean, is that, I know that was something that we talked about in an LTC a while back.
I hope so. Stefan and others were instrumental in solving some of the issues that we've experienced to now. And I did speak with him, I don't remember if it was last week or the week before. He did volunteer to assist, and now when we reach out again, I plan on taking advantage of that resource and bringing him in time. And hopefully, it's not the big bad city pitching this thing, it's a resident who's been involved.
Well, right, I mean, I think that was something that we thought could help, is that if there are residents who have been through this and they know what goes on, they know the city, they know the process. And they can help translate or help other residents feel like it's us, the city, how can
Are you asking about other projects?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's something that seems to work, at least I know in the case of Stefan, if it's working, there. I don't know if you have others that you're enlisting for that.
Well, this was this concept of having an ambassador program,
Correct.
right? Which is interesting. Today we met with Village of Key Biscayne. And they're looking at our lessons learned. We are in the same boat. We are same island type, they're just a little bit smaller and same issues. And they're looking at that as well. It's very interesting because they're just, they need somebody to talk to rather than who it for.
Exactly, and that is a regular person, a neighbor, and so on,
It was interesting about that.
Yeah, the ambassador program was something that we recommended there in season 1 or 1 and 2. And it sounds like, you've had an emerging ambassador instead.
Yeah, question. Are you having meetings, are you having to the residents all at once, or are you just doing one?
We've been doing one at a time because each individual property the harmonization plan is specific to that property. But we are open to doing groups, we're open to any option that will help us.
It might, because, an individual resident doesn't know, if they're there by themselves, they feel.
On West, a lot of it, there's one pocket that's single family homes, but on West, it's mostly larger condos and some smaller condos. So often we're meeting with the property manager and a board member or board president. We're not necessarily meeting with like a single family house on Palm Island where we did, you know, those are the nuances that are different.
But there's only like a couple people there, I mean, it seems like it should be. It's my building, or there.
And some of them do and some of them
Some
don't.
do, some don't.
Some do and some don't, and also when, as David Gomez was saying, the nuances of the harmonization plan for each property are so different and unique to that property, that often, like, let's say we were gonna do 10 properties together, like, A, it would be a very long meeting. And B, you know, 1, 2, 3, West Avenue doesn't care what 4, 5, 6 West Avenue is getting or doing, or, so.
Poses different challenges for the. And the board do, when they do have a board, they do go back to the board. Just, we got one recently. One service that-
We have had some, like if it's the same property manager, they have 3 properties on the corridor, they'll say, can we do this all at once? Yes, no problem.
We're really open to whatever the property owners or their representatives want. We'll do it however they wanna do it. I'm even willing to hang from the ceiling upside down to do it.
Well, I wanna go to that one.
We try to be very flexible in making arrangements to meet. We'll bring the designers, we'll bring the contractor, we'll bring the city staff. If necessary, I'll be there and talk to them. We're just trying to get everybody on the same page.
Yeah, and I guess yet when the rock meets the hard place over whatever issue, then it's like something like an ambassador, or definitely that's when the one-on-ones are very important.
And we've actually given the contractor a lot of leeway. To use an example, if a property has a sidewalk, but they are tired of Miami Beach red and they want a gray sidewalk, we've given the contractor the leeway to say, okay, we'll give you the gray color. They have a lot of flexibility in what they can do to get to the point where the property owner says, okay, I want it. And it's just, there's hurdles sometimes and I think a lot of it has to do with certain property owners being afraid of what's coming.
For sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Anybody else have more questions about harmonization?
Do you ever have a situation where the property owner just does not cooperate?
Yes.
Like what unders your
We've had
conditions?
situations where they won't even return our emails, phone calls, letters, nothing. Radio silence.
Conversation.
Wow.
And
It's
then
crazy.
you just
And
have to
then-
go
yeah,
forward, what do we do?
Well, the option that we don't like is what I refer to as the nuclear option, which is I'm gonna design around them and put up the barrier wall and when they realize what's happening, then they'll contact us. Usually that happens after construction starts and then all sorts of issues arise. In most cases where they haven't been responsive, the contractor will send what we call a 30-day notice letter. We've been trying you for 30 days, you haven't responded. If you don't respond, we're gonna proceed. Most of the time that gets a response. But it comes to the heavy hand before we go to respond.
We're also trying to discuss internally, how do we convey the message better to let people know what's coming. And one of the things I've had a conversation with Warren and I is how do we convey that? What message can we give ahead of time so that people understand that, yes, it's coming. We're even talking about doing video or mock-up, showing this is all you can get, and something that we can at least provide a video for you there. And on what's coming, so those are the internal discussions that we are having.
One of the things we are constantly trying to counteract is we will hear rumors that are moving ahead of the project.
Right.
Future segments or segments we haven't gotten to, there will be all sorts of rumors about how we're gonna tear down this building or do that other thing. We're constantly trying to squash
Yeah, that was my
those
question
rumors.
was.
Like rumor control.
Yeah, rumor control or getting out ahead of it with your communication.
And that's one of the things that we're talking about, how can we convey that message via different social media? And provide that as much as we can, get ahead of it so people understand what the real message is. That's what we.
And right now, how is that being telegraphed? Like,
We don't have, like that.
We're currently meeting one-to-one with them. We are gonna go back to the Lincoln Road, to the Lincoln Court area, that is giving us difficulty in 7-4. And meet when we're coming with them, but we are requesting the meetings on it. And try to at least reach out to them and have a conversation one more time, you know. The last thing we wanna be is the city bully going in there and doing it, that's not the intention. The intention is to convey the right message of what we're trying to do. So, any assistance and all that, it's awesome, would be great.
And I think to answer your question about what are we doing to get ahead of that rumor mill? At every milestone or more frequently, we send out advisories to anybody that is signed up to our email list, anyone that we have an email address or a contact one for. We send a blast out to say, hey, this is what's happening, this is how long you can expect it, the road's gonna be closed, it's gonna be open. As much information as we can as it's happening to try to keep people.
you know what came up, I think, I'm not sure if it came up last time or when it came up, somebody might remember. But that on the you know, whatever's up around the current project, like somewhere like on phase 1 on West Avenue, that there would be some sort of a QR code that somebody could scan, and it would take them to a little informational, you know, to whatever, you know, we've got up on the web,
We have been doing that more.
Yeah. because people will do that.
Yeah, we love to our
And
They love,
We've
I love,
begun including those in our project signs.
yes.
And I don't remember if the West Avenue project sign has already been updated with the QR code.
Mhm.
So that we are doing that already.
Want to find out more about, you know, these
Yeah.
improvement
It gives
projects?
it gives the general information of the project, and then there's a QR code for more information.
Right, from reference, and then that can also be part of the look ahead. You know, that when they go there, then they get the look ahead information. Coming soon to a street near you, you know, and then here's how the process works. You know, people sort of like these sites, I think, now where the attention span of all of us is so small. These little videos where they're like vignettes. Like Instagram, little Instagram videos or TikTok videos, or, you know, maybe there's a way to do that. You know, here's what happens in the first part of it, here's what happens then. And then, you know, it's like they're different little, and they might not be hard to make.
our field PIO is actually working on, has been working on something, we were talking, that's what Eric was referring to, like, we're trying to do kind of an informational video clip
Exactly.
about the pump station specifically, because people don't realize the vast.
Yeah, no.
Yes.
The incredible technological accomplishment that is that.
Yes.
It is impressive.
Thing is, you'll never see it. Once it's complete, you will
Behind a
never see it.
construction,
You will
it's
have no idea
underground,
that we actually built the pool is probably 60 feet deep.
it's out of sight, out of mind for
You'll
so
never see
many
it,
people.
it's out of mind, and so it's, you're installing 96-inch pipe, you're installing 84-inch pipe. No, that's huge pipes, you can stand in and still.
If you see like David stand in a pipe and the pipe, that's what
bigger, it's
you're.
much bigger than him, and those are things that we're trying to pay. I mean, I think we have, that's what we're talking about, how do we get that message?
Right, and so like, what is it and the scope of it, and then also, if. What can you do, like, what's gonna be expected of you, like, how are you gonna participate in it? And if you're a property owner, you're participating in a certain way, obviously, if you're just a resident, you may be, you know, you may be having to go around things, but I don't know how you do it, but.
I absolutely love the idea. But I think one of the things I would keep in mind is that, like you mentioned, people like the quick little clips. Unfortunately, sometimes construction doesn't move that fast. So it takes us a while to do something, and when they come back the next day and click, they're expecting to see something different when we haven't gotten there yet. So it's a challenge for us sometimes because a lot of the criticism we get is you haven't updated, there's nothing to update. We're still
Don't forget,
working on it.
this project takes 10,000 years, so.
What are the differences between newer approval project versus vertical? Vertical, you see it,
Right,
you see it on horizontal, once it's in the ground, you'll never see it. And
Yeah.
that's one of the things that's like,
that was a big challenge, with the First Street project early on, is trying to explain to people. They weren't gonna see it.
Yeah.
And you can't put it there, this big thing, it's gonna be right in the middle, but not really, because it's gonna be.
exactly.
But they persisted in not getting that, and I think many people there still don't get that.
And that's one of the reasons I'm very much in favor of this video clip, because I think that explaining what they're seeing on West Avenue will help First Street envision what's coming.
Absolutely, because they see what they go by with them, they can see it. So, yeah, I think that's wonderful, well, you
Yeah,
know,
but I thought that, well, the pump setting around, generator was a very large structure, and that's about.
It is,
Yes.
but, and you're absolutely right, when you stand in the parking lot and you see the generator, it is impressive, it's large, it takes up a lot of space. It is a drop in the bucket compared to what.
Imagine that 3/4 of that parking lot that used to be there has a pump station. 3/4 of it.
yeah, it's amazing.
That's how big it is, 15 feet. Roughly.
Well, if you ever need any beta testers, you know, I'm certainly available, and I know probably other committee members could bring us anything, and we'll be happy to look at it, because that's a part of our charge, and I think it's something we're really, and since we're all active in our communities,
Mm.
you know, we get the questions.
I'd be very happy to share that with you.
So-
Like to stand in those pipes.
Make that happen. Let me know where you go.
But stand,
They are,
but if you're eating hanging from the ceiling, I've got a whole lot of things to do.
you can have a meeting with the city.
If I can add, Madam Chair, I also think that these are fascinating.
Yeah.
We are pretty much one of the only cities doing this work at this point. There's a lot of other planning happening, there's a lot of other cities thinking about it, trying to figure out how to fund it. You know, and you know, we're doing it, so it's also pretty fascinating, I think a great story to tell.
It is, and you bring up a good one, it actually is, it's one of a kind.
Yeah.
And it's hard to convey the message to the residents.
And I will tell you that even I did not fully understand how impressive these pump stations are until I saw them in action. This is a 120,000 gallon a minute pump station.
That's crazy.
Which
And I grew
means
up by Niagara Falls.
it will empty a residential swimming pool in about 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Wow, it is that impressive.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I have some sort of, thank you, some rudimentary questions. So, the phase one, completion would be kind of one-ish.
When you said phase one, are you
West Hampton.
referring to segment?
Segment one, sorry.
Okay. Earlier I said that we are expecting them to reopen the sidewalk that was closed in the
Right.
next week or two. This summer, you should see the road between Lincoln Road and 17th Street begin to open the traffic. It won't be a full opening, it'll be partial and one direction for a little while and then one direction another, but we'll start bringing traffic back in. The downside to that is that when we commence segment 2, that's where they connect the segment 2. So then you'll see more closures along Lincoln Road at West Avenue. As we move to segment 3, the closures will happen south of Lincoln Road and it'll keep moving while they're doing their pieces. So completion, I think was 2027 area.
Right, yes.
So there could be some sticky wickets, right around, you know, this coming fall. Ish.
I'm sorry.
I'm
If,
gonna,
if you're gonna be working on segment one
yeah,
into through
I'm
the
gonna-
summer,
you mean in terms of traffic?
yeah,
You will have traffic impacts from here through the end of completion in varying places and varying degrees.
and I guess. You all just have to do these as they're moving along, so it doesn't matter whether it's high season or it's not, or it's nothing you
It's-
can
yeah.
do there.
And we have, depending on the activity that's happening, for example, for our follow, we did have them clear West Avenue and open it again.
That was a big help.
We may not be able to do that every time. It just depends on the activity that's happening and their ability to do that.
Yeah, because that was really helpful, and then when everything went back, I was like.
Yes.
We heard.
Like, I'm sure you did.
Yes.
See, we're the secondary complaint. So we hear it, and so that's, do other people have questions about timing?
What, the bridge? Is a bridge, what's the completion date on that?
The bridge is summer, fall of 2026. As you know, we already started, it's a little bit of already. And it's, some going, they have to do a lot of, especially on the north side, relocation of existing utilities coming in, because the existing utilities run underneath the bridge, the foundation of the bridge, so they have to relocate it. So that's gonna be a good portion, 6 months of that work is gonna happen.
Gabrielle's referring to one of the water mains that brings water into Miami Beach.
Exactly.
So we have to relocate that water main, as well as storm lines and sewer lines and all a whole collection of stuff that is where the foundations are going.
Correct. That's one of the things we had, and then to go on to, basically, it's right underneath the bridge, and we have to relocate it, and we're gonna relocate it on the right lane exiting the beach. So we're gonna have to do the closures there, you'll see those coming up soon. One of the things that, that we are, in terms, so you understand what's coming down, in the near future, or in 2025.
That is the wet well,
That is the
that
way.
is under parking.
Please use the person as a guide to help.
Wow.
That's incredible.
I just thought if they narrated a few pictures that I had.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's already poured up to the top.
Oh my goodness.
See it there, see it's 3/4 of your.
Yep. Jeez, oh man.
Wow.
There was a night,
That
This
quite a
is
feat.
the night.
an overnight concrete pour that there was 300 yards of concrete that they had to pour overnight.
And once this is all done, that's gonna be a parking lot again?
Yes,
Let me see it.
Are we looking at groundwater?
you are looking at, yeah, that's correct.
It's amazing.
Which you're dewatering to other parts of the site when you're doing watering?
They're actually pouring, yes, there's some dewatering and then they're actually pouring under. They do a trebisol.
It's amazing.
And like you said, it's so different from, vertical, if you.
Yes,
the-
because here you don't see, you will never see it.
That's absolutely.
And where's the generator going for that one?
In the parking lot, there's a part of it that will be the above ground components.
Trader Joe's to your left.
So Trader Joe's is to the left, you
The concrete
see
trucks.
where the
In
concrete
the
trucks
post
are,
office.
closer to where the orange generators are.
Okay.
The generator will be there.
Okay.
There will be an FPL bolt, concrete FPL bolt. And next to that will be the controls and the generator.
Yeah, it's currently out there running the main feed to the.
We need a few of these on the beach.
Excuse me?
We need a few of these on the beach.
We actually have a couple.
Take me through the works.
But yeah, I just,
You ready to check?
sometimes a picture says 1,000 words.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
totally, I think that's, in fact, I'm looking in here, this was our, thank you for getting this for. So this came out April 4, 2022. And, we'll send you a copy, it's all, been all processed and pasteurized in the documents under the commissioning. Have more visual, simplified, and personal information, adding before and after photos of projects, any photos, everyone. Fact sheets that include profiles of main staff team, providing photos and video testimonials of property owners. Those could be some of those little snippets that they're working on. Who have previously undergone the harmonization, creating an ambassador program, which is what we talked about. So this was our suggestion in 20, in which community members who have experienced the process volunteer to be available. And really, if you just had a little pool, not those people, a little group of people that were like your ombudsman go-tos. That, how cool would that be?
And we actually do have some after photographs, particularly of Indian Creek, where we did a lot of the harmonization next to the properties there. That was a challenging project for us because there wasn't a lot of room to do the harmonization. And I think that's an example of a project that was very successful. We actually did a good job of bringing everybody together on that.
And also that since 2022, we have used the before and after photos to
Yeah.
explain, so we're.
You're on track. Yeah, I'm just thinking, also, you can't do everything, you know, you're doing these big projects, it's a lot, you know, to do everything. But I think, using some sort of human assistance as well as doing better with technology and communication, you know, QR codes, et cetera, would be great. Those would be two. You've got to have some people that you've been through the harmonization with that really sort of, you had to go have an adventure together. And, you know, so those people who walk that path, I guess you could go back to them and say, geez, you know, we really love to use your resource and your expertise, which is,
We can definitely try, that's for sure.
because there don't need to be a lot of them. It wouldn't work anyway. You don't want a whole herd of cats, but maybe 3 or 4. You could bring in those meetings, those small group meetings. I don't know, it's just an idea. Well, this is very helpful. I don't have further questions. Yeah.
Well, are we, I see later on the agenda, future projects, updates and all that, so should we talk about that? Because I was gonna ask about First Street.
Oh, sure, we can ask about First Street. We can move to that. Good.
Yeah, what's that, is that the next one up?
You caught me between first base and second. That's a public works project. We are attending the design meetings and we're kind of, the arrangement we have with public works for neighborhood projects is that they take the lead during construction and during planning. And we're,
During design.
planning and design. We're a resource to them and we kind of guide them in whatever construction side issues. And then once it moves to bidding or construction, then we'll take the lead and they are a resource to us.
I see.
So they really have all of the information. I have enough information on First Street to be dangerous.
Ron, to answer your
That.
questions, we're expecting to start the first round of harmonization. We're getting the drawings from that team of proposed harmonization, and then we will start having one-on-one meetings with everyone on the portal.
I thought, aren't we, don't we, where were we? We were at like 60% design or something. So the next step isn't a further design, it's actually starting
Well,
harmonization.
harmonization is further design.
Well, so it's talking about harmonization.
But we have to get the property owner's opinion on that design before we can finalize.
So the process from a design side is we have our general design. Let's go back to the schematic design. This is where our pump station is gonna be, this is where the big pipe's gonna be. We go to 30% and say, okay, it actually fits. We can keep going with this one, or it doesn't fit, or they don't want the pump station here, they want it somewhere else. We developed that, they got to 60% design, so now they've actually done some calculations and they've confirmed elevations and done some other stuff, they've applied for grants and gotten some of those. Now is when we start getting into the finer details of, okay, the road's at this elevation, we knew the road was gonna be this elevation. These steps are at that elevation, how do we get them? And then we start looking at each individual driveway and each individual set of steps and where's the front door and how does the sidewalk slope in relation to where the road is gonna be? Now is when we start figuring out those details.
So that involves contacting businesses on
Correct.
First Street and.
Correct. So the designers will take a first stab at saying, okay, we know you have a driveway, this is how we can make it work. Then we sit with the property owner and they say, no, you don't understand, I have a really big van. And it's not gonna fit, okay, now we'll figure out how to make that work.
Well, and we know when you're ready to start contacting, like who you start to be contacting. In other words, we're gonna be contacting the businesses on First Street, or we'll be contacting the buildings on all, not all to the road.
Well, it's majority First Street for the harmonization. We've already been in touch with many of them, to, even build our database for the project. There's also the nuance, similar to Lincoln Road, where you've got the business owner manager, but in many cases, a separate property owner. So it's a team meeting, if you will. Because sometimes,
No, right, but two different things.
sometimes the
She's
property
she's
owner,
referring to multiple stakeholders that have an interest in that one plan.
Translation.
and with some of them, there are corporate entities that are involved.
Yeah.
So, yes, there's lots of nuance to each of those meetings and how they're.
So those are going on, have been going on in a way.
Cool.
On First Street.
One, I don't have the harmonization plans in my hand yet as far as the PIO team, but I believe the designer is working on them with Public Works, so once
Yeah, with
those
that-
are, once
What that
we're,
means is we haven't shown them to the property owner yet.
once I'm given a package to coordinate and organize, then we reach out to each property owner, manager, business, and we say, okay, Joe's, like, let's talk to you about, and there we're not harmonizing because the work is on, I'm just using them as a name. Let's
They're
have
just
your
affected
meeting.
because the road is gonna be dug up.
Well, the road's gonna be dug up and the pipe runs down Alton, it runs down Washington.
Right,
So yes, there's significant impact, but as far as the harmonization to the front door, that's more, I'm blanking on names right now, but the businesses along First Street,
yeah.
the great
So-
Milos and.
But you, but you,
Fully
Chow.
Yeah,
you have ongoing discussions with all the businesses that are being affected, or you said something about meetings have been going on.
Well, we've had a number of meetings throughout the design process and,
Right.
when we do our outreach for the public meetings, we
Right, the public
make
meetings, right,
contact.
but
And invite them.
individual business, well,
Some, we recently met with Milos, they asked us to come and explain it one-on-one, and we're very accommodating as far as if you wanna talk, we wanna talk, so.
so that's being driven by the business, whatever, not the city, because you do have a plan to meet with people prior to certain events happening. But in some cases, you're saying, people are sort of saying, I'd like an update now about X, Y, Z, or I have questions. So that's what's going on, it's not part of the, okay, we're ready to contact the businesses and tell them.
Right, we don't always get to pick the schedule.
And I think I touched on it earlier when I was talking about West Avenue and we're getting ahead of us. What I mean by getting ahead of us is we're focused on, okay, we're starting segment 2, we need the harmonization for segment 4, and after that is segment 3. But as we're trying to get those taken care of, someone in segment 9 will say, I heard that you're gonna be doing something different, can you come talk to us?
right.
So all of a sudden, we're not ready yet to sit with them because we're trying to follow our schedule. But of course, we go and sit and talk.
Sure. It's just like, the courts where I lived for many years, before I moved to West Avenue. The courts will have a driveway problem,
Right,
a
well,
driveway issue.
they also, we have been in touch with them, and they will have a harmonization meeting. The courts is lucky in that they have a Second Street alternate
Oh, you bet,
entrance.
no question.
They don't wanna use it,
I know.
but and that'll be part of the conversation, but, if we can, in many cases, when we do somebody's driveway, for example. If the driveway's wide enough, we can do half of it at a time, we can work with them in And, but if you do it all at once, granted, it's maybe a little more impact, but it can happen faster.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, and with the court on
Whereas
Second Street is
If
the
you,
key.
you know, if you have one of those loop driveways, you can work on one side or the other. And so
Good,
it's similar with the courts in that they have that Second Street access.
yeah, they just have to learn how to open and close it. That's all. Yeah, I think it was about 10 years ago, I said, sooner or later, something's gonna happen in here, we're gonna have to set up that back gate. Why don't we think about it now? Yeah. But now we think about it. Anyway, so any other questions? David, thank you so much. Come back and see us again. We'll make sure you get a copy of this fabulous LTC so you can see. And we really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much. And Karen and I want to go in the pipe. Okay, her
I'm
wants to go in the pipe.
hesitant to
We're all-
let you into the.
Yeah, I mean, not forever. We just need a photo op. Not like the Great Pyramid.
Quick question. Why do you think it is that, why is it that Public Works does the design and you do the construction? I think that would make more sense to have.
It's counterintuitive.
Their staffing in their engineering department is professional engineers. So they speak the language a little better than some of my staff does. We're composed of architects, engineers, construction managers. When you start getting into some of the technicalities of the neighborhood project, they are more expert at establishing the design criteria and working through the design stuff. Our contribution to them in that stage is, it's gonna be a lot easier to build it if you do this piece instead of that piece. So that's where we try to help them in the early stages. And then when we're in construction, then we run into an issue, they help us on the engineering side to say, well, you can solve that problem by doing this other.
And if you want to take a site visit, please.
Yeah,
talk to
we'll be
us,
happy
and
to
I'm
send
more than happy to go out there and make sure to leave a pipe out for you.
Sounds good.
And the sooner the better, so that we can accommodate that.
But that way we don't have to go in the ground.
Right.
No,
Please take advantage.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks.
so much. Thank you. Okay, so that was good. It's a lot getting done and, but I do think that, what's going on in terms of more communication, it's really good too. Can't communicate too clearly or sometimes too much, I guess. Future committee topics and focus discussions. I think maybe, for me, continuing to talk about some of these communication ideas and hear what's going on would be something that's I'd be interested in. Based on our conversation today, just kind of hearing what's happening and what might, where we might feed in or help from. But sort of, I don't
I
think
have
we've
a
been,
little answer for fun can help.
okay, sure.
The city's grant department is applying for grants that will help the First Street project. And they are looking for letters of support. So that is something that
Yeah, if
you're
we can get,
interested in doing as a committee or as a building in the area. Or as, I can ask that separate question. But
something should for sure do it.
then,
Yeah, because my building is nowhere near, it's not. Well, pipe runs beside our building.
it
Everything's
is
gonna.
servicing all of South Bend. That
Yeah.
pump station will service every building south of
That's
Bend.
right. And so I think Sophia would be a great one, but yeah, if we could get an email that tells us.
Yeah.
Maybe that would be something we could put on for the next
Yeah.
meeting.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
It's really important to show community support in the projects.
Would you prefer individual letters? Is that what you want? I don't care. Okay, I would think so.
Yeah, no, we put all our
I don't
names
know,
on.
I know Ron is south of it, but I don't know I don't know the other YouTube personally.
We could come with the draft like language and.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah, we
great.
have a,
Just do a.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, there's always
an
a
example.
template.
That's what I mean,
Yeah,
just
so-
something.
so, yeah, we can-
I just got that email like a couple hours ago, so.
And this is for the first street,
Yeah, it is for,
Yeah, because
fun, phase 1 and 2.
the first street.
So that's First Street Fund's gonna service all of South of it.
Yes.
Eventually,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
It's being sized to service the whole neighborhood, but only a
Right.
portion right now.
The way that the engineering
Right.
breaks down, and I'm the PR person, not the engineer, but but the way the engineering breaks down, phase, like there's phase 1 and 2, and then there's phase 3 and 4 that'll go up Alton and Washington. So the project we're attempting right now is phase 1 and 2. But until those bigger pipes are attached to it, then it's servicing one, area 1 and 2.
Now, what about on Pine Tree? Because I know they're putting those huge pipes down Pine Tree Drive. Is that just a sewage pipe or is
So
that gonna be a
that-
pump?
That's a pullback, it's a.
Probably longer.
I'm happy to send you the information on that project, I don't know it off the top of my head.
That's
It is-
also a big
it's-
pipe, I've seen that laying on the road.
Yeah.
we can go get that
Yeah,
one too.
yeah,
It's a big
If
one.
that water goes, if it's water out of that.
I think they're roads that are roundabout on 47 and they're doing the huge pipes.
Separate projects.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I know there's several.
So we can, next time, we can definitely, will there be, what's the time frame on these letters, the Amy one?
Sooner than. They would like the letter by February,
What date?
February 10th.
February 10th, no, we have to
Send it to her.
we have to circulate it by email. Okay, sure, not a problem.
Yeah, maybe you can write it, we'll sign off on it. Yeah, and we can just, you can just circulate by email, right?
Well, I think you're talking about sending some language.
Yeah, I have a template and I can, tweak it, make it yours. Resilience committee.
Where?
Yeah, we have a lot of flair. Yeah,
But our grants team, they fully write it.
okay,
We take care of all that. We just have to.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
that works. We shall tweak and send. That's a deal. I don't think we need a regular vote, I think we've got unanimous approval. Other things, I think, anybody have other things they'd like to address next time when we meet again or in the future? People would like to hear from or field trips we'd like. Or we all want to go simplify, so aside from that. In addition to sort of exploring, and I don't know how, because now this memo from 22 is kind of making me rethink a lot of these things. I don't know. Laura, do you have a database of people? No, we have many databases, but probably too many. But a database of people who have expressed interest or who seem like they want to participate or be engaged. People like us or like Stefan, people who
I mean, I think there are those people in each neighborhood.
definitely are.
Our databases are divided by geographical area. Like, we have like a South of Fifth list of emails, we have a West Avenue list of emails, we have a Flamingo Park list of emails. The neighborhoods, so that when there's something that applies to just that neighborhood, we can email just that neighborhood.
Right, but right now, we don't identify, emerging ambassadors.
No,
Or
I,
people who might do testimonials or.
yeah, I was gonna say, I got a bunch of us got around a table, we could think of some people.
Oh, yeah,
Right, it
That
would,
would,
because it seems like,
it's a certain type of, it's a special kind of person.
It is.
Give up their time
and there doesn't have to be a lot of them.
and to share.
because there aren't a lot.
Right. Like for Indian Creek examples, I would want to sit down with at least, the team that worked on that and perhaps the PIO that did that field work, and it's like, who were the standouts, or where was there like a hurdle that we were able to accomplish, and it was a positive result. And, and I have those examples for Prominent Biscuits. But also in relating it to West Avenue or First Street, that's a single family home. So some things it applies and some.
Right, but you know that even if it's a single family home versus something else, they had an experience with the city in this context of this kind of a project, and it all worked out, and they could talk about it.
Yeah.
We do have a video that had different neighborhood champions speak about prior projects. And it was a video that our former mayor did, so it's associated with, messaging he wanted to get out, but I mean, that might be something to look at. Because there were definitely champions that had like really kind of great overviews of their experience. Maybe we could look at that and maybe splice them out and see if they would be comfortable with even sharing that with people during the viewing. I don't know.
Exactly.
Right.
I don't know if that might be a very salesman-like, but
Right, it also depends what we're asking them, I wouldn't expect that any 2, 3, 6 homeowners or property owners or property managers from another neighborhood want to attend 150 harmonization meetings for another neighborhood.
Well, of course not, but of course not.
I was thinking about like sharing the videos.
Right,
Understood.
but
Yeah, and we can do it that way.
that can be shared in larger groups. But when we look at, an ambassador or, somebody who would be pinpointed to go in when you need a smaller group or a one-on-one, need somebody to come in and meet with Kurt because he's giving you a hard time.
Me?
Yeah, so maybe Ron goes in and, say Kurt, to beer tub. Or whatever,
Martini.
without beer, a martini, I don't know what kind, but so it's a list, but it becomes a way to. Really kind of focus on just where you think a one-on-one or a one-on-one with a few groups is needed, a small group problem. I don't know, so it really wouldn't be like the big stuff, the videos would work. And then maybe you have somebody every once in a while that could come. Could say, hey, Amy's gonna be available after to talk to you. She was through it on West Avenue and, she can talk to you. People would probably swamp her. 'Cause but you don't know until you try, It's hard to say. But I like the idea if there's an existing video. I don't know why you couldn't use it if it was already signed off on by the folks.
Well, it would have to be repurposed because it was a prior name.
Oh,
Yeah.
it is it Galbert?
So you would have to get.
Is Galbert in it?
Yes, yeah.
But
So, however, there was maybe good material that could potentially be pulled from that.
right, so there's things that could be spliced out that weren't Galbert. Right, so they were a homeowner, so.
Yes.
I got it. Yeah, I think that would be great. That might be fun to. Just talk more about that.
Okay.
How long is it? It's not long. Is it?
It was a little bit long. Yeah.
Okay.
And, it just wouldn't be appropriate for us to share a former mayor's video. However, like you said, I think that there were snippets from the homeowners.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the key. If they were already okay to do a video, they'd probably be okay with their parts to be shared. I guess you could confirm it, but I don't know the nuts and bolts, you would know that.
Yeah,
But,
this was a few years ago, so.
You've got material. That's good news. Yeah, so, well, if anything else we can help with, but I honestly think that all the communication stuff is the key. I mean, I am a communication professional, so it may be that when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. But I think in this case, it's the truth. Because harmonization is all communication. Negotiation. the getting ahead of the rumors, telling people what to expect, all the timelines that you all do. You know, are there other things that people would like to discuss in future meetings? Because we don't have to have all the future meetings right here today.
No, but just a question about today's meeting, I'm holding a question, it says current future project update, so Amy, you're to do something on that when we get to it on the agenda, or is that just,
We were gonna do staff updates.
Okay,
no, I mean underneath current future project?
I think that's like a standard item.
it just sits
but
on there
Yeah.
in case there's anything.
In case there's something that you'd like to hear, we
All
can
right,
put it
I'll
on there
hold
and
it
we
when we get to.
can invite,
Okay, well, maybe we just look at dates. Maybe we just move to dates. Look at dates. Now, February is short. For one thing.
And it has two commissions.
I know. Oh, we know. We're at MBU. Okay. One meeting, then we have another one. Okay, so,
Is there a holiday in February,
Valentine's Day,
like 14th?
President's Day,
President's Day is the 17th.
17th. So since it's already almost February, a couple things come to mind. One is a radical proposal, which is that we could go right to March. But I mean, I could see doing something. Well, the commission meeting is on the 26th, is that right?
March?
Oh, no, sorry, I'm still in February.
yeah.
The commission meeting's on the 26th of February, so
But there's two in February.
There's
What's the other one?
One's on Monday. One's
Monday.
on the third.
as you know,
Oh, this one. Okay.
yeah, that's one.
Just-
We just put this one to bed in our heads at MBU, so we're like, okay, that one.
So we have we have Tuesday or Wednesday,
So we can
11th
meet,
or 12th,
that's only been a couple of weeks,
or
so
the 18th or 19th. Or the 20, well, it's the 25th, that's the commission, I think,
26.
26th.
We could do the 18th or 19th.
Shutting one of those days.
Are you thinking about February?
Yeah, now we're still in February. So would you like
So the
to,
19th, there's a commission meeting at 5.
For presentations and all.
What about the 18th then?
Yeah, we just have to check the room. Availability.
okay,
There's not any other meetings. I did want to let you know that February 20th, we're having a community meeting for the sea level rise out. So that, that's gonna be at 6 p.m. at the Miami Beach Botanical Garden, but this is the plan that you all passed the motion.
Okay, nice. Yeah, okay.
So that'll be a busy week for us, I hope things will come. It's gonna be a very interesting meeting.
That's on the 20th.
So it's February 20th at 6 p.m.
In that sense, would it be, better to go to something like the 24th?
Did you say you're presenting what, the adaptability? plan?
Yeah, so do you want to bring up the invite, Rolando? Yeah, so we're actually partnering with University of Miami School of Architecture. And they have something called the Salon Series, which is kind of supposed to be an interesting and compelling way to discuss, important issues of that day. The first 20 minutes of the evening is going to be focused on the adaptation plan for 2100 and different strategies. And then the second portion of it is going to be focused on a panel discussion. So it's going to be Governor John Stewart, myself, Tom Mooney, and Dr. Sonia Chow will facilitate the discussion, just to talk about what kind of our city looks like into the future. So that's just meant to be like interesting, and people can walk around and give their feedback on different images and boards. And then the last half hour is just talking, like just being accessible for people following one bylaw.
Fun.
Very
So we're
cool.
trying to do a different kind of community.
It's nice.
Yeah. So that's February 20th. Yes.
4 o'clock, but I should be able to be okay.
Yeah, and again, registration is 6 because we do have land use, so like all of us have to go right from land use committee to here.
Of course you do.
Yes, yes, so yeah, we're pretty excited about this.
Great, okay. And when we can get this email to us and make sure? we-
Absolutely.
You're gonna be sending it out, I assume, to the standard city mailing list.
Yeah, we should get.
I've
that
received
one.
that, this is an email,
Mhm.
so
So what does the group think? And I mean, tell us if that 18th is, let's
yeah,
do
sure.
something in this air, huh? Got, get it to them.
No, your allergy. So that's all it is.
Can't be allergic to resilience. So is that week of the 18th more difficult than the week, like if we did the 25th, the commission meeting? No. So,
No,
no. So the 18th, is that what we're saying?
That works for me.
Okay,
Or
well, at 4 o'clock,
We could do 4.
really, real 4.
Or real 4. Okay, real 4.
4.
I think it helps everybody with traffic.
Yes, it is much better to do. Because so they're,
218 meetings will be us. It's scheduled. But you need to confirm if we can.
We'll
have
just
it.
check them.
Yeah. So. March. I see also has an 18th on a Tuesday. Right after St. Patrick's Day. Does everybody like Tuesdays?
That is the
day before our commission meeting.
Oh.
So-
Oops.
could be challenging.
How about the
Right, so it's-
25th?
25th, I have to be in Broward in an all-day event.
Is it really?
Yeah.
We back it up,
What about Thursday, or did we say, we're trying to shoot for just Tuesday?
I don't care, we do whatever we want, Thursday, which one, the 20th?
So I'm actually out of office that day.
27?
So the, for a different.
27th?
So the 27th, we have. It's sustainability. We have another meeting in this room. And then we have a second. Salon series with them on private adaptation.
Is there anything that lasts 2 weeks or?
Let's see. Nobody wants Friday.
Doesn't?
We could do the 18th. It is the night before a commission meeting. But we could, I don't see any other date in those 2 weeks.
Yeah, it looks bad, otherwise we back it into something like the week of the 10th or the 14th. And then it's only a few weeks.
Try that, so 4 o'clock on March 18th.
Yep.
Can Sabrina send out, advance, go ahead and send out all.
Oh, yeah,
all
Yeah,
this-
she does.
all of them.
All of them. Right. April,
And then, let's see if I can-
April is gonna be a big astrological month, by the way, so stay tuned.
Good or bad?
Good,
Okay.
good, well, okay. It does involve Saturn, which is never really happy, but good, because everything shifts. I believe it starts to shift.
Mother's Day is in April or May.
Hey,
April, so if we did the 18,
It's a Friday.
we do the, no, I mean, but in April, we do the 18th of March. In April, we do tax day now. Well,
But do the taxes on the last day.
sometimes. I'm not gonna lie.
What about that 16?
Instead of 16.
It works for me.
Yeah, that's fine. So 4/16.
I like Marathon. It's just a fun thing to say. May,
So what day is Mother's Day? Because we got a town.
it is the 11th of May.
11th of May. Okay. I'll just get to that. 10th, 11th, and back to 12.
So we could do that week, or we could go, well, the next week is a commission. No, because I have only MBU meetings. We could be, 14th,
And the 14th.
back to Wednesday. Is that okay? Okay. Forging ahead, or are we exhausted?
Well, and she has to check the dates to see if the rooms are available.
True,
Yeah.
so we should
double
just
check.
forge ahead to June and
You wanna do
July.
one in June?
Yeah, why not? So,
So do we need monthly meetings? This is question number one.
well,
Up to you.
it's up to us. I mean, we probably, that's why I suggested, we could skip a month here and there. At least we know we're not gonna do August. We know we're not gonna do August, and we typically, pretty much, I don't think we do December, because it's just too much. There's just too much going on. So, and then we have an election this year. It's,
So we're putting these on the calendar. And decide.
right, we might. Yeah, but I think it's better just to have the date and know that we could have the room, and then maybe next time you look at it. And really, maybe we'll have a full committee at that time too. And we can really start to look at what we'd like to do, what we'd like to do over for.
We're
So-
still waiting on one appointment. Other than that, the mayor. It was Kalen's position.
Oh, right. I got a call, I think I'm gonna talk to him. Find something. We're gonna do June and July, just stop. Yeah, okay. We're just putting these in. June, 18 is a Wednesday.
But we have a commission meeting at 5 presentation.
Oh, do we?
Okay.
So. Fall back to Tuesday,
17th.
yeah. Try it. Okay. Plug it in. Okay. For the last, to July. Let's see. So. Commission meeting, looks like it's 23rd. How about the 15 or 16? Maybe like better. 15. Okay, let's try 15. See, we've got a room, and then we can look at all these substantively next time. Neat. Good work. Okay. Just did it. Yay. What do we do without these?
Right.
You probably have a lot better eyesight, I'll tell you that. Okay, so under staff updates, there's
Yeah, so we wanted to let you know about the adaptation plan, the public meeting that's coming up. So that'll be, really interesting, hopefully thought-provoking and get a lot of interest in the future of our city. So we are finalizing the draft for that, and our consultants are starting to put it into, graphics, and we're putting in a lot of great pictures of our city, and so we're working on that from the staff perspective. You probably saw on the commission meeting that there's a referral to have it be presented and discussed at Village Use. So the referral date is Monday, the 3rd, and Commissioner Denise is the sponsor of the item. And so that will be presented at Land Use on March 11th. There's just a heads up on that if anybody wanted to attend or comment on it. This goes back in October. The commissioner passed a resolution based on your motion that this was a positive for the city to move forward. So we have that meeting, and our hope is that the discussion goes well with land use, and we can answer all the questions, and then hopefully get a favorable support from the full city commission. It's great. It's kind of our goals, and then go back to the full commission in April.
Told you it was me.
Yeah. Yes. But you've seen a little bit about it, but the adaptation plan has everything from the bayside to stormwater to the beach and the dunes. And so if you like, we can always do a fuller presentation like at the next meeting here if you want.
Because it's a
just to
good
give you
idea.
Overview.
Okay, let's do
Yeah,
that.
especially for
Yeah, especially for, and
good
also,
orientation.
yeah, and also for us, since it will be conversant among the lands. In support.
We can plan on doing that. We can do like a 10-minute overview or 20 minutes, whatever you'd like.
10, 20, 15.
Do we need to bring the lawyer in for the?
Yeah, we do. Sure. Because we have new members.
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah.
The usual talk. Cone of silence. Yeah. Sunshine.
Barbara was, Commissioner Rosenthal.
Yeah, the salon was hers.
Oh, that, this little sheet, leaf sheet. That's wonderful.
And then the other item, if there's no questions on that, was just an update on our private property adaptation program. We have Valentine's Day is the date that we would like our new cohort to show their love and send us in their grant agreement. And so we had a wonderful event at the Botanical Gardens in December. Commissioner Dominguez came, and it was a full room of people interested in the next big cohort of private property adaptation. So they got a nice overview of how to sign a grant agreement with the city, getting them ready to choose their projects. And so we're looking forward to the agreements coming in. There's about 60 residents who are working on them. So that's coming, and then we will be opening the program again, probably towards the end of next month is our goal. And we'll keep that grant application period open for a couple months for people to apply to it'll be our cohort number 3. So we're very excited about that as well. And so that could be some good information for you to share with your networks.
Information to share through MBU as well, thinking of doing newsletters that are more newsy.
Yes.
That instead of, what we've been doing is putting out newsletters with our opinion about certain matters, commission resolutions, consent. But we've had some interest in doing news flashes, citywide issues that are important and certain. Well,
And particularly since our last king tide season, they had some pretty high tides, and we had a lot of violations issued for seawalls that were incredibly low. So we're hoping a lot of those applicants apply, or those people that are getting the notices applying for the program, because it's something that can assist them. So we want to get the word out.
yeah, well, since we have a board meeting coming up, we'll be able to talk to you about it.
2 quick things. Have you heard anything more about, I saw that's on the agenda for the commission to talk about restarting the Alton project. That's put on put on the back burner and now they put on the burner, and what's the news on that?
Kevin, I don't have any news at this point, so you know, I'm unsure where Public Works has any news, I can ask them. If you wanna talk about it the next meeting.
Yeah,
as
let's
well.
get an update at the next
Yeah,
meeting.
just maybe an
Just
update.
quick update.
Basically from that neighborhood. And then the other quickie is, do you know anything about, the FPL project that's, middle of Fifth Street? Takes up, you
Yes.
make your left turn.
I know where it is.
Oh, yeah, hard to miss it.
Yeah, what's,
The status,
Yeah,
I don't, but I can ask.
because it looks like things are starting to demobilize a little bit. Just wondering why the street will be open and maybe.
People do ask about that all the time.
One other item that I think we can forward to you all is that the state of Florida is having a new home elevation program. It's called Elevate Florida, it's home elevation for reconstruction. And we don't know much about it, they say it's coming and it's supposed to be faster than federal programs, so we wanna make sure to share that.
Which, that's kind of a low bar.
I know, yes. So, you know, it's something very new, it's supposed to be fast and simpler, but you know, we know how really difficult that whole process is. So, but it's something that we're sharing. We did announce and see that, and we can share that with the community as well, it's something we wanna.
Sure.
Process.
Backtrack for a second, Ron, which Alton Road project?
No, Fifth Street, the
I know,
FPL.
before that,
But
you asked
before
about
that-
Alton Road. And
But
I'm
there were
asking
all-
where on Alton,
Oh, the I think it's Mid Beach.
Okay, the one that was.
With the
That's
one
the
that was
street.
scheduled and then postponed
Yeah.
because there was too much going on
Just
and
make-
then, yeah,
yeah, by the golf,
that was all.
just checking.
Yeah, there's a lot of alternate. Anything else on that, Amy, thank you.
Those were our two, anything else, Juanita, on those two programs? Okay, we just always wanna keep you updated.
No, that's good, no, it's really good. So I think we don't have any public, do we?
There were a few members before, but nobody left now, no comment.
I know we had,
Actually, for the PPA, I don't remember the last that we met. But we do have one project completed and we've gone through the full reimbursement, wrapped up and done, and so. Yeah.
Where's the confetti when you need it?
What's the project?
It's a smaller project, which is why they were able to get it done quite quickly. It's permeable pavements for the side walkway of the property, and so rather than having regular pavement, they ripped it up and put in permeable pavement, and we should have more drainage to reduce the amount of flow we see on that side of the property.
Is that permeable pavement really a lot more expensive to do? I mean, is it cost prohibitive normally? Because whenever people talk about, putting permeable pavement, there's so many P's in it. And it's always kind of like, well, they do it because it doesn't last as long, like the straight.
I know there's special maintenance that has to go for it, and that is, I think, more, I don't know the cost differential. No.
Yeah, I don't know the figures on costs, but I mean, it's not, I wouldn't say it's prohibitively expensive. It is an added cost because it does have, I can't think of the words right now, but you have to build it in a certain way. It has to have a certain type of ground. You don't just kind of like put the papers in and walk away. It has to have a little bit of a structure to it, whereas, regular pavement, you just pour it and set some, and you kind of like build it. So it does have a little bit more to it, but I wouldn't say it's prohibitively expensive.
and
It's one of
particularly,
the more common project types. People are very interested in the permeable pavement and changing out their driveways or their patios.
Yeah, that's great. That's the way of the future.
well, I think it's comparing it to like what you're comparing it to. So if it's asphalt, yes, of course it's gonna be more expensive, it's concrete. But if you're looking at other types of pavers, I don't think it's unreasonable pavers. It kind of depends on how fancy you want them and which one they look like, but I think it's reasonable.
So that's, I guess, everybody make all the announcements, celebrations. Thank you very much, everybody, and a motion to adjourn.
Motion for adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
All right.
I knew I could count on you.
Yes.